What is up guys, it is Michael and welcome back to another AFK Arena video. Today we'll be discussing who to build within the Dimensional faction. Now this is the last video when it comes to who to build within all the factions. So if you haven't already seen the videos for the other factions, the link to this playlist will be down in the description. I highly recommend you check it out as it's important to know who to build so you don't waste your valuable resources. If you need help with AFK Arena and want to ask any questions regarding the game, feel free to join the Discord, which is also linked down in the description. Without further ado, let's get on to the guide. Now when we think of the Dimensional faction, we really think of all the crossovers. For example, the newly added Rem, or even Emilia. When we think of the Dimensional faction, we obviously think of all the crossovers, but how many people join because of these crossovers and how valuable the Dimensionals are, especially when building them, you only just need to link them to a certain hero to get the 5 stars. We are going to start off with Nakoruru. She's an absolute cool hero when it comes to AFK Arena. When it comes to her design, and absolutely amazing. Along with the crossover here, a lot of people were brought to the game because of her. But when we look at her utility, she unfortunately isn't used anywhere. But she is used in a niche formation when it comes to the Cane and Demonic Namora when it comes to all the Dimensionals. Now would I build Nakoruru in AFK Arena? And the answer really is no. If you missed out on her, she isn't really a big priority. Don't worry about wasting your resources on this hero. If you don't know how to get the past dimensional heroes, I will show you real quickly. So you go to your friends tab to the right, you go to Garrison, and on the top right it says exchanged. And you need 100 of these stones every month, and once you do it 5 times, so you have to save up 500 stones, you will automatically get this hero. This hero will be yours. Moving over to Joker, an absolute beast when it comes to his design in AFK Arena, but when it comes to his utility, his signature item does reign true, being at the plus 30, but when it comes to his formations, he is used in a lot of bosses. He is used in the Cane formation along with a lot of Dimensionals and Awakened heroes. But when it goes down to the Demonic Mirror, he is used again with all the Dimensionals heroes. Now obviously the Dimensionals are better together, and down below with the Burning Brute utilized in the top 10 along with Nevi, Awakened Brutus and Taylene, paired with obviously Albedo and Joker. And would I build Joker in AFK Arena? And my honest answer is no. Now obviously if you are a fan of these characters, then build them, each to their own, but when it comes to their utility inside of AFK Arena, you want to build the heroes that are used everywhere. In Joker's case, you don't want to build him. Moving over to Arthur, an absolute beast tank when it comes to the Dimensionals, but when it comes to his utility, he is used a fair whack, as a lot of people have access to Arthur and really like him, especially as a tank. His plus 30 is very important, along with very strong uses within the PvP areas, like I said with Arthur, Albedo, Ainz, the basic free trifecta. Now moving down, I see the E60 here being in the top 30. I don't recommend you engrave Arthur at all. E60 to me for Arthur is really a wasted investment, as he really doesn't need it. He just needs the 99 furniture and the plus 30, as his 99 is ranked in the top 50, as well as his E30, which is surprising to me, but a lot of new players that have Arthur probably engrave him because they think he's the best tank inside of the game, but that isn't the case when it comes to Arthur. However, would I build Arthur in AFK Arena? And my answer is yes when it comes to his 30 signature item and 99 furniture. That's all you need when it comes to building Arthur, especially as a tank. You just need the 99 and 30 to really get the most utility out of him. Now he's still using a lot of game modes, especially with all the Dimensionals together. He is still a solid tank in AFK Arena. Moving over to Geralt, an absolute beast, especially if you're a fan of The Witcher. I really do like him. I think he's an underrated hero inside of here. Now he is a warrior and continuous damage dealer, which is absolutely huge for him, but moving to his utility, his plus 30 is definitely on top of the list, being within the top 20, along with his 99, which is very important for a warrior and continuous damage dealer, paired with his E60, which I don't mind for Geralt, but for now I'll just get him to the E30. Now obviously if you want to have more utility out of him, maximizing his full potential, his E60 does reign true. And a lot of uses within the campaign, believe it or not, Geralt is used in there a lot. But would I build Geralt in AFK Arena? And the answer is yes. I think he is one of the most underrated Dimensionals in here, and he has great utility, especially if you're pushing the PvP or campaign. as I've seen strong uses within the treasure scramble at a high level when it comes to Geralt, and he's honestly underrated. But would I build him to the E60? And that would be a no. I would just get him to the E30 and 309. Moving over to the King of Blaze, Prince of Persia, an absolute beast being a ranger and burst damage dealer. Now when it comes to his utility, all you really need for the Prince of Persia is his plus 30. Unfortunately, he's only used in one area inside of AFK Arena. Now if they ever added a dimensional tower, I think he'd have a very strong use within there. But for now, he's only used within the Dream Destroyer, and this is the 13th formation, so not very popular. But would I build a Prince of Persia in AFK Arena? And the answer to that is no. Now he is very strong being a ranger inside of here, but all he really needs is his plus 30, and to be honest, I would just save your red chest for now. Moving over to Baba Yaga, an absolute beast when it comes to the mage and burst damage dealers. Such a cool looking character inside of AFK Arena. I know she brought a lot of new players inside of the game. When it comes to her utility, she isn't really used anywhere, but her investment is actually pretty decent. When it comes to her signature item, reigning true in the top 40, along with the E60, which I don't recommend on Baba Yaga, but her 99 is very good paired with her E30. Now with the utility, as you can see, nowhere in AFK Arena she is used, which is unfortunate as how cool she is within the game, and her kit is actually very good as well. As the Awakened heroes come out, they really overshadow these heroes, making them really unusable, so I would skip building Baba Yaga unfortunately. Moving over to Queen, probably one of the best dimensionals when it comes to AFK Arena, honestly very underrated, especially being a warrior. Now when it comes to the utility, a lot of usage within the campaign, along with her signature item being very prevalent, being within the plus 30, you want to get to that minimum. But the campaign Queen is reigning true, being in so many formations, along with some use within the King's Tower as well. Now would I build Queen in AFK Arena? And honestly I would, especially if you're pushing the campaign. She is very clutch. I would build her to the 309. Now I would hold off for the E30, but if you're looking to engrave her, her E30 significantly increases the buff effect on crit rating and defense rating, which is very huge when it comes to the campaign especially, so I highly recommend you build Queen in AFK Arena. Moving over to Merlin, an absolute monster support and regen when it comes to AFK Arena, and this is the first must build dimensional when it comes to this faction. Moving over to his utility, which is absolutely amazing, used in all PvP aspects when it comes to the Arena of Heroes, the Legends Challenger Tournament and Championship, along with his signature item, his plus 30 being within the top 10, which is huge, paired with his engravings. Now his E60 honestly is too far. I would really just keep him at the E30. In my opinion, you only need the 30 signature item, paired with his 99 furniture, which is top 40. Now would I build Merlin in AFK Arena? And that's an obvious answer, yes. Merlin is one of the best support units inside of AFK Arena. Merlin will have an impact in this game for a long time, so I highly recommend you build him. Moving over to Leonardo Da Vinci, an absolute beast. Now I know a lot of people have joined AFK Arena, especially when Leonardo was announced. Now he is so unique, especially when it comes to the crowd control ability, when he paints his opponents, freezing them, which is an absolute beast skill when it comes to him, and is honestly a game changer. When it comes to his utility, a very strong use in the campaign because of his crowd control, being within the top 10, along with the King's Tower, very strong use within there, paired with his plus 30 signature item, which is absolutely huge, especially for Leonardo. As you can see here, such strong formations when it comes to the campaign, followed by very strong use within the King's Tower as well. As you can see, different variants of these formations, which are absolutely insane, especially if you're pushing high chapters like chapter 50. He is very clutch paired with Awakened Belinda. Now, would I build Leonardo Da Vinci? And that answer is clear. Yes, 100% I highly recommend you build him. Now with his investment, the 309 should do well. Moving over to his engraving, now his E30 is actually very good, but I'd actually take it to the E60, as evacuation is one of his best abilities, as it increases damage reduction for the next 5 seconds after using the skill evacuation, which is absolutely game changing when it comes to Leonardo and his utility. So if you haven't already built Leonardo, I highly recommend you do so. Moving over to Yennefer, an absolute beast mage buffer when it comes to AFK Arena. Moving over to her utility, her plus 30 signature item is huge, paired with her 99 and E60 engravings. When it comes to her use in AFK Arena, PvP is definitely her forte. especially used in the whale formations in the Legends Challenger Tournament and Championship, and I've seen her used a lot within the Treasure Scramble as well. Now, would I build Yennefer in AFK Arena? And that heavily depends on if you are focused on PvP. Now, if you're heavily focused on that aspect of AFK Arena, then 100% I recommend you build Yennefer. Moving over to Joan of Arc, now this is another must build character inside of AFK Arena in my opinion, especially when it comes down to the support and buffers. She is so good when it comes to formations, it is crazy. Now when it comes to her utility, a lot of use within the PvP aspects, used in every single PvP area, along with her signature item with the plus 30, which is absolutely huge for her. Now the engravings, I highly recommend you go straight to E60, and her 99 is very important as well. Now I would skip on her E30 engraving, as her E60 is honestly game changing, especially for Joan of Arc, followed by strong use within the Legends Challenger Tournament and Championship. Now I just wanted to point this out, within the Arena of Heroes, the number one comp is using Ezio, Albedo, Merlin with Awakened Brutus and Joan of Arc. This formation right here is probably one of the best in AFK Arena, especially when it comes to the PvP. If you have these heroes, please put them in the PvP formations, as they will dominate. Now would I build Joan of Arc in AFK Arena? 100% I would. She is absolutely incredible, another support within the faction. Now in my opinion, you want to build as many heroes as you can within the Dimensional faction, as I have a feeling they will release the Dimensional Tower, and having Joan of Arc in there will be the game changer. Moving over to Albedo, now I know a lot of people joined AFK Arena, especially when Albedo and Ainz were announced. But she is probably one of the best tanks when it comes to the faction. Hands down is a must build within here, especially when it comes to her utility. Very strong use within the PvP areas. The Legends Challenger Tournament, she's actually number 1, paired with the Arena of Heroes being number 2, along with the Legends Championship top 5. Now if you see strong use within the PvP, you know this hero is very good. Plus 30 is definitely the minimum, along with her E60 in my opinion, especially for the tank. The more stats, the more survivability, the more value you will get out of Albedo. Obviously her 99 is very crucial when it comes to her build, especially being a tank. Now would I build Albedo? I think you all know the answer, yes. Probably the best tank within the Dimensional faction, and her utility is off the charts. She is still making a stance today, especially in the PvP. She's been dominating for years. Moving over to one of the best Dimensionals in AFK Arena, if not the best, and that is Ainz. Now when Ainz was announced, honestly everyone went crazy. So many new players joined, especially with dropping the both Dimensionals, Ainz and Albedo. But Ainz in my opinion is one of the best range and continuous damage dealers in AFK Arena. Now obviously he has slowed down, but don't forget he is one of the best heroes when it comes to nuking the whole team. And not many heroes in AFK Arena can do what Ainz does. Now when it comes to his utility, his plus 30 signature item is definitely the minimum, as well as very strong use within the PvP still, and is used in a crucial formation within the Demonic Namora, followed by his 99 and E60 engravings. Now you want to get him to the 309 E60 in my opinion, especially to get the most utilization out of him. The higher you have him, the more damage he will deal. Now would I build Ainz in AFK Arena? And the answer is clear yet again, yes. He is an absolute beast when it comes to the major continuous damage dealers in AFK Arena. Being able to nuke a team on your own is absolutely incredible, especially when you get him higher with the engravings. He is a very game-changing hero for your account especially, but obviously he has fallen off a little bit because of the Awakened Heroes, but don't forget Ainz is still very strong in the AFK Arena, and I highly recommend you build him. Moving over to Mulan, an absolute beast when it comes to the ranger and continuous damage dealers. Now she is one of my favorite dimensionals inside of AFK Arena, 100%. When it comes to her utility, her 99 is very important, being inside the top 3, along with her signature item. When it comes to Mulan, she does need a heavy investment, but she does very well at that high investment. As you can see, the E30 and E60 both being in the top 5 and top 10, but in my opinion, I would just take Mulan to the E60. Strong uses within the Arena of Heroes, Legends Challenger Tournament and Championship. Mulan is a very good hero, especially for the PvP aspect, and to top it off, strong use within the campaign. Now would I build Mulan in AFK Arena? And the answer to that is yes. Now she does need the 309 E60, her E30 will do fine, but when you invest in Mulan, she is very strong. For that reason alone, I highly recommend you build her. Moving over to the newly added Rem. Now I know a lot of people have come into AFK Arena, especially for the crossover for Rem and Emilia. But Rem is an absolute beast warrior and continuous damage dealer within the Dimensional faction. When it comes to her utility, being number 1 in the Burning Brute is absolutely crazy. Now when it comes to her engravings, the E30 being a number 3, paired with her E60 as well. This is crazy as Rem is very good, especially engraved, and I highly recommend you get it to at least the E60. Now her E30 is very good as well, but if you want Rem to be at her highest potential, then the E60 is for you. Moving down to the Legends Challenger Tournament, being inside the top 10, followed by her 9 and 9 furniture, which is absolutely crucial when it comes to building Rem. She is very good inside the Arena of Heroes. Obviously the PvP aspect, Rem is going to be there and dominating, along with the Dune Destroyer as well being inside the top 10. The plus 30 will have to be the minimum, as she is very strong, especially at the plus 30 investment. Moving to the Legends Championship, being within the top 20 in that already, along with great uses in the campaign. I've seen a lot of people test her in the early game as well, and she is absolutely dominating. Now would I build Rem in AFK Arena? And that's an obvious yes. She is one of the best dimensionals in here, and she really only just came out I think a month or 2 ago, and she's already making a stance within the meta. For that reason alone, I highly recommend you build Rem. Moving over to Ezio, an absolute beast when it comes to the Ranger and being an assassin. Now I know there's a lot of Assassin's Creed fans out there, and Ezio brought a lot of new players to the game. But when it comes to his utility, very strong use within the PvP, being inside the top 10 with the Arena of Heroes, paired with the Legends Challenger Tournament, the top 20. But when it comes down to his investment, the plus 30 is very good. Down to the Legends Championship, being within the top 30 within there, so very strong use within the PvP side of the game. Topped with his E60. Now his E60 investment is actually very good for Ezio. If you want to focus on his skill and evasion, which is one of his best, increasing the dodge rating and its maximum limit, which is absolutely game changing when it comes to Ezio. And he's actually within the top 50 in campaign as well. He can solo formations being an assassin. But would I build Ezio in AFK Arena? And the answer to that is yes. I think Ezio is one of the best dimensionals within here, especially if you're focusing PvP side. But even if you're not, he's used in the campaign as well. It can be swapped in formations for the bosses. Now obviously the only downside is he has to have the E60 to really make a stance within the game. But other than that, if you're willing to invest in him, he will be a great hero. Now moving over to Ukyo. Now I don't have him built unfortunately, but he is a warrior and continuous damage dealer in AFK Arena. Now when it comes to his utility, he isn't used anywhere in AFK Arena. I would highly pass on building him or even getting him. Now you don't need to build Ukyo in AFK Arena, he is an easy pass. Moving over to Emilia. Now unlike Ukyo, Emilia is very strong in AFK Arena, being a mage and control unit. She has very strong uses within the PvP aspects, and as well in the Nightmare Corridor, which is crazy, paired with some formations within the campaign as well. She is honestly used everywhere in AFK Arena, and she gets so much value being a mage and control unit. Her minimum build would have to be the 309 E30. Now would I build Emilia in AFK Arena? And the answer to that is yes. I think once more people build her and have her on their accounts, they are going to be shocked at how good she is. Now if you already have her unlocked, please build her to the 309 E30. I feel like she will be used everywhere inside of AFK Arena. Her skills and abilities are absolutely amazing, but the only problem is not a lot of people have her built at the moment, especially with the majority of the community saving resources to exchange for her. But other than that, Emilia will be a must build. That will do it for who to build within the Dimensional faction. If you haven't seen the other factions and want to know who to build within the others, the link to the playlist will be down in the description. Also, if you have any questions regarding AFK Arena, join the Discord, which will also be linked down in the description. Me or a moderator will answer your question as soon as possible. Let me know your favorite dimensional in the comments below, and I'll see you all in the next one.